Hello everybody and welcome to the system hacking section. Now what we're going to do in this section is, first of all, we're going to discuss what system hacking is. We're going to explain some different tools that are used for system hacking, as well as some programming languages that are also used for system hacking. And then we're going to go to the practical lessons of hacking different types of machines, different operating systems, and different ways that you can actually get the access to a target machine. First of all, let's start off with what system hacking is. Well, we can simply be just exploiting the vulnerability or breaking into the system, gaining high privileges, and obtaining control of the target system. Now, there are two types of penetration tests. The first one is network penetration testing, where we actually run exploits on a network level. It can be, for example, you in a local area network connected with a bunch of different PCs and you try to hack a PC there, or it can also be you trying to hack an actual PC over the internet using port forwarding, for example, or hosting a web server or something like that. Now we're going to cover different types of the attack, so don't worry. For now on, we're just talking in theory. And the second type of penetration testing is the web application penetration testing, where we actually exploit the web application. Now that is something that we're going to do in the next section, right after this one. That's where we actually attack website applications hosted on a web server. In this section, we're going to cover system hacking on a network level, and as I said, in the next section, we will cover web application penetration testing. So first of all, now let's discuss what tools are used for system hacking. Well, there are many. For example, the most famous one, and that one that we're going to cover, is Metasploit and Armitage, but also the best tools for hacking systems that you have besides using the tools that other people made are programming languages. Now, so in order to actually fully understand hacking and exploit development, you will actually need to learn a programming language at a certain period of time. So for example, let's say you finish this course, you watch other hacking courses, they will mostly tell you the same thing. You will not really understand anything fully until you start learning programming languages, and then you will understand everything, every type of the attack, every program, processes, operating systems on a whole better level. So the most common languages that are used for hacking and that you should start with are Python, Ruby, C, or C++. Now for the exploit development, there is also assembly or machine language, but that is a little bit advanced topic, so you should only do that after you finish these three. In this course, we will cover a little bit of Python and C, programming for ethical hacking, but you will need to take some programming language course to understand everything better. I will cover some of the basics, but I will do them as I code. I will not really explain them in great details. That's why it is always good to either watch some free YouTube videos, courses, or buy some course on Udemy or any other platform that will actually teach you the programming language a lot better. These three programming languages that I actually mentioned are used for creating malicious software, and also they can hack over network remotely and locally. Now, most of the Metasploit exploits and modules are based on those three languages. Now, as I said in the beginning, we are mostly going to cover Metasploit framework in this section, which is framework for hacking. It is a framework and database of exploits and payloads based on vulnerabilities that we can use. Now, you can simply open it up just by specifying or opening up your terminal and then typing msf console in your terminal. Now, if you're running on Kali Linux, this should already be pre-installed for you, so don't worry. If you are running any other operating system, you want to actually watch a YouTube video online how you can download Metasploit framework. It is not as easy as simply just cloning on GitHub. There are, I believe, some dependencies you need to install, but most of you are actually running Kali Linux, and those of you who aren't, simply just search it up on YouTube how to install Metasploit framework, because you will need it in your ethical hacking course. It is actually very easy to use this Metasploit framework tool. Once you get used to it, you really don't even need to know how certain exploits work in order to hack the target, because as I said before, this is an actual database of a lot of exploits, and we will explain all of this in the next video. As you can see, there is a command line right here waiting for specific commands. There is something written right here, the banner, and so on and so on. But for now, we're simply just going to exit it, because we're not going to discuss a practical usage of Metasploit in this lecture. Now, another thing that is important to mention is that Metasploit can also be used for scanning and enumeration. Also, another thing that the Armitage tool that I mentioned before is simply just a Metasploit-based graphical user interface tool. It is very easy to use and implement, and also easy to scan and search for exploits. Now, one thing you might be wondering if you have already used Metasploit before is how it exactly works. Well, once you actually discover a vulnerability on a target, performing some different scans or using Google search engines to find out whether some version of software is vulnerable, you can simply use Metasploit to send exploit for that specific vulnerability. And right after you send exploit, you send the payload, and the payload is most likely going to be some type of a backdoor, malware, or whatever you really want. Now, the main purpose of system hacking is to create a session with the target. A session is simply just two devices that communicate over the network. It can be anything from HTTP to interpreter session in Metasploit framework, but later we will see how we can code our own program and create session with it as well as hack our target. Sessions can be made by a reverse connection or by a bind connection. Now, the reverse connection or reverse shell connection is when we force target machine to connect back to us, and this is better than bind shell because reverse shell connection is evading most of the firewalls and IDS IPS because it's the target machine that actually initiates the connection to us. Reverse connection is the most easy way to actually bypass all the security systems or most of the security systems, and the bind connection is when we are actually connecting to the target machine. Bind shell is more likely to be triggered by security systems, and it is mostly used as a last resort when all reverse shell techniques do not work. We can create different type of sessions, for example, interpreter session, shell session, HTTP and HTTPS session, and we're going to take a look at most of them in the future videos. So for now on, I just want to discuss a little bit of theory right here and what tools we are going to cover, which programming languages should you consider learning in order to understand hacking on a whole nother level. And in the next video, we're going to start off with introducing ourselves to the Metasploit framework. Hope I see you there, and take care. Bye.